Hi everyone. Once again, we would like to thank all of you for attending our easy, centralized, and affordable management and monitoring for HyperV joint webinar with xByte and 5nine software. Note that this session is being recorded and we will share the video along with the slides in a couple of days after the event. With GoToWebinar console, you have ability to ask questions, so please don't be shy. Ask them because we are going to spend about 5 or 10 minutes for the Q&A at the end of the webinar. Today we have Ryan Brown, who is Chief Executive Officer at xByte, and Simon Perriman, Vice President of Business Development at 5nine. They are going to hold the presentation for you. And with that in mind, let's start our session. And I want to pass my word to Ryan.
All right. Thank you, Eugene. So thank you all for joining us today. I know everyone's time is valuable, so hopefully you'll get a lot out of today's presentation. Let me go ahead and bring up our agenda slide for you. So going to the agenda today, we're going to first talk about xByte Technologies and who we are, then get into the 5nine Manager and really why xByte partnered with 5nine, and get into the 5nine Manager with Antivirus as well. Another key benefit and reason why we partner with them is their antivirus product. We'll finish off with some resources, so give you guys the ability to kind of learn more about both of our companies. And I didn't put it on the agenda slide here, but I want to let you know, for those of you who do stick around to the end, we have some exciting offers, some freebie giveaways. So please stick around to the end, and you will see that final slide with some of the giveaways that we do have. So xByte Technologies, easy, centralized, and affordable IT hardware and solutions. So let me get into it really quick. So who is xByte? xByte, and bear with me for a second as PowerPoint continues to be a struggle for some reason. Here we go. Who is xByte? xByte, and I'm not going to read everything that's on the screen here. You guys can read all this. But from an easy, centralized, and affordable solution, easy is really our customer policies. We have very customer-friendly policies as far as no question asked return policies. One of the things I hate is that when you try and return something, you're always asked, oh, why are you returning it? And then if you give the wrong answer, they say, oh, nope, sorry, you can't return it because you said you don't like it. But if you said that it was the wrong color, you could return it. So ours is like, you know what, whatever you want, you can go ahead and return that back to us. And we're very lenient about that, and we really want to do best for the customer. And I'll give you a quick story here. Very recently, we were given a particular solution. For years, we've taken customers' batteries that go bad in their RAID controllers, and we've replaced them for any time the server's under warranty. We had a customer come to us because one of our third-party suppliers, I don't recall now if it was Dell or somebody else, they were not warranting what they call consumables, or those batteries. So as a company, we were given an option. We could always change our policies and make it, okay, these are industry standards that people just don't warranty these RAID batteries because they could go bad so often. But we said, we want to be different. We're going to go ahead and continue honoring those warranties for our own warranty, and then we're even going to enhance the warranty. So if you go through us and you get a server with, let's say, the Dell warranty, they're not going to cover the batteries, but xByte will still cover that under our own warranty. So we enhance all the manufacturer's warranties by going above and beyond with our customer-friendly warranty policies. From a centralized standpoint, we're really that single point of contact. So we work with various partners. We have 5nine with us today. So we work with getting the best solution for our customers. And in that HyperV world, there really is no better solution for management and antivirus than 5nine. You can use either the Dell warranty if you get the Dell warranty, or you can use our warranty. A lot of customers, they don't like sitting through Dell's various prompts and having to get to somebody and have to prove that they're not stupid before they'll get to return a hard drive just because they already know the error code. Well, for us, again, going back to that customer-friendly policies, we work with IT people all the time. We know you're not idiots. So you send us an error code. We're going to trust you, believe you. You just go ahead. We'll give you the next reply is not, hey, can you try this? It's ship it back to us. Here's just by the way, it'll be there tomorrow. You'll have a box. You can return it back to us with a label, all free of charge. So that's the kind of company we are. And then from affordability, we really hit on that because of our massive scale. So we're one of the largest resellers of Dell servers out there in the world. And one of the things that allows us to do is buy in huge bulk. We actually buy from Dell's refurb division. We buy a lot from them. And because of the relationship we have, the special relationship, they allow us to sell their warranty in any configuration that we the server. So when you go to anyone else out there, what you'll get is just the warranty was ever in the base configuration of that server. So if they have you do any custom configurations of it, the Dell warranty will not cover that. When you buy it from xByte, that's not the case. We can uplift your warranty and have it covered by whatever configuration that we sell it in, and that's because of the relationship we have there. We go through site visits with Dell multiple times a year, so they trust us and they know what's how we do business. And so I know a lot of you are thinking about refurbished, so let me go ahead and start now with our first poll.
Great, we'll go ahead and bring that up. And so what we would like to have everybody do is switch over to the GoToWebinar interface, and you will see a poll question come up. And the first poll question is going to be, what is your opinion of refurbished hardware? Is this something that you would use in development or test environments only? Has it been something that you've used in production? Has it been something that you have not had a need to use, but would use it? Or do you only buy new hardware? And last but not least, no opinion. So if you wouldn't mind switching over to the poll interface, we'll keep this poll open for about another 5 seconds. We'll ask you kind of what your opinion is about refurbished hardware. Because what you're going to learn about xByte from this is that refurbished is great stuff. They've got some awesome solutions here. And it looks like we've got about 80% of you have voted so far. We've got a pretty good split across, and it looks like actually about 60% of you have actually used refurbished not only in dev and test, but also in production. So a lot of people out there are actually using refurbished hardware in the real world in production. Great feedback. Thank you, everybody. We'll end this first poll, and I'll turn it back to Ryan.
All right, thanks, Simon. And that's not surprising to us. We see those statistics across the world, and it's about 60 to 70% of companies out there use refurbished hardware in their production environments. And it's interesting, in our poll we had that no opinion. I know it's crazy as the U.S. As our primary system is. I was watching one of the Super Tuesday results, and they actually had people who came to the primary and voted no preference for a candidate, and I was perplexed at how in the world so many people would actually go to the primary to vote no preference. It was kind of, I couldn't figure out why that someone would actually do that, take time out of their day to say, oh, you know what, I don't have a preference between either candidate. It was kind of a funny little anecdote for you guys. But anyway, refurbished servers. A lot of people think, yeah, refurbished servers is something that was broken and then someone fixed it. And that is true for consumer electronics. But it's not true in the enterprise IT space. As funny as it may sound, I deal in refurbished servers all the time, but I actually have my contract up with my cell phone, and I'm not looking at refurbished cell phones because of I do know that in the consumer space they do take broken things, make them fixed. So there's always that risk associated with them because of that. So let me go into really what refurbished servers mean in the enterprise space. As I said, for us, it's not something that was broken and it was fixed. It can't be farther from the truth. And I don't know if some of you guys have gone out and seen videos of Dell, of any manufacturing processes, especially Dell. But the way it works is that when an order comes out through Dell, it goes through, and for them, it actually costs them more if someone cancels the order to stop the process. So they continue to make that server, and then it goes to another division of Dell. Basically their canceled orders division, and we'll buy large lots, I mean hundreds of servers at a time from them We'll buy last generation that Dell no longer needs. So for those of you who go to the Dell's website, you'll see, let's say, we just recently had the 12th generation, the 720s, the 620s, coming off the main Dell website. When they no longer want to sell the servers, when they've said, you know what, we really want to just move to the 13th generation, we have hundreds of these that are just not selling, and we don't want to keep them on our site, they'll come to us and we'll buy that lot from them so they can move their site onto that 13th generation. Also, OEM partners. So their OEM partners work with some of the biggest companies out there. Most of the time it's software companies where they're making some kind of appliance. Well, they may spec buy on needing a certain number of servers. If markets shift or something, they may not need those for various reasons, and they'll have to come to companies like xByte to buy that overstock, so they're not sitting on that hardware because they just don't need it for whatever reason. So as you can see, for us, refurbished is not something that's broken. And most of the time, it's something that's never been used. It could even have been used if let's say Dell's notorious for this, where they'll actually send something out and you'll buy something and they'll add other stuff to the order, just saying, hey, check it out. If you like it, keep it. And so someone may have taken a look at that for 15 days or 10 days and sent it back to Dell. That may be the extent of the time on these servers. And I hear a lot of times out there that people are afraid of getting refurbished, especially on the hard drives, because of the fact that they know used hard drives will fail. I mean, there's just a time to failure. So when you come to us, you're not going to have that same problem because of the fact that we're not dealing in that used drive space. Because we also know that they do fail, and we don't want our customers to go through that experience. And that's one of the worst experiences you can have, where you'll buy something and you'll see you buy it. We get compared with eBay, although we're nothing similar to eBay. But I see a 30-day warranties all the time out there, and all that tells me is that vendor knows their source of equipment and is so scared that something's going to go wrong, they're not going to warranty it for more than 30 days. And we would never do that. So the lowest warranty we ever have is 1 year. Most of the time it's more like 3 or 5 years. So let me go into this, and this is our data sheet. And I'm not going to bore you reading everything on here, but this basically tells you we have it all. We do it all. So we have every line of server out there, or of the Dell line, every model. Very friendly return policies, we say. We can get into software imaging. So let's say that you want your software loaded with, let's say, Windows, your HyperV environment. You want us to preload it with 5nine software with the antivirus and get that all set up for you. We can do all that for you. And then we either image it or just do the installations in general, and then drop ship it to either your remote office, your office, or your customer's office if you're a reseller, and then it can be very plug and play. And that's one of the big benefits we give to companies, that because of our size, we have a lot of freedom to do stuff like that. We also have lease to own. So and we have lease to own without a personal guarantee, which is very exciting for a lot of small businesses, because they don't want to put their own finances on the line. And it's the special way we do leases. So you can come to us afterwards and we can talk to you about that. So this kind of gives you an idea of that we really do it all over here at xByte. And we know that it's not just with hardware. We've talked about software, there's setup costs, there's downtime, and all that play a big factor with IT decisions nowadays. Because, I mean, I recently read, it was actually Spiceworks, and they had their state of IT. And the servers, especially servers, in a hardware budget, it was only 20% of the budget was hardware, and as far as servers go. And I know the hardware budget is probably only 20% of the overall budget, or maybe even 50% of it, depending on the company. So we know that that's a small piece of it, and we need to make that as easy and as centralized and as affordable as possible. And when we partner with companies, We only want to partner with those companies who can mirror that. And let me go ahead and pass it over to Simon here, who can kind of get into the 5nine piece and talk about how 5nine is that easy, centralized, and affordable management software.
All right, thank you, Ryan. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my screen here. So thanks for joining us. A little bit about 5nine software as well. So we were founded back in 2009, and the entire time we've been building our solutions, we've been focused exclusively on Hyper-V. So compared to a lot of other software companies that build things for, let's say, VMware first, then try to adopt them for Microsoft Hyper-V, everything that we've been doing from the ground up since 2009 has been all about Hyper-V. In fact, the first version of our product for 5nine Manager was a console that's exclusively designed to run on Windows Server Core. And so for you guys out there that understand, the Windows Server and the different deployment options, Windows Server Core is basically a version of Windows Server that does not include a graphical interface. It had trouble with remoting, remote setup, and so the very first iteration with 5nine Manager was all about providing people with a GUI when they didn't have the skills to do PowerShell, they didn't have the skills to do scripting, didn't have the skills to do remote management. And so the whole concept around 5nine Manager has been to make management for your virtualized infrastructure and Windows Server extremely easy and, of course, affordable. Now, for many people, well, in fact, most people out there do know that Microsoft Hyper-V is, in fact, cheaper than other virtualization platforms on the market. In fact, it's cheaper so much so that Microsoft gives away the host operating system entirely for free. And we're going to talk about the HyperV Server version of Windows Server shortly. But what we've really tried to do here with 5nine Manager is give you another alternative. Right now, Microsoft's management solutions are kind of at two extremes. If you use the inbox tools from Windows Server, you get basically scripting, or you have to go and use 6 to 8 different interfaces to go and set up and deploy a failover cluster. With 5nine Manager, we make it easy, give you that centralized console. Now, on the other extreme from Microsoft, you also have System Center. And System Center is a great tool. It includes a lot of different components, a lot of features, but for many SMBs or customers that have some budgetary restrictions, System Center is too much. It's a big product. It includes lots of components. The licensing is complex, and they charge about $3,600 per license to use System Center. Now with 5nine, we contain many of those same features, but we sell the solution for $350 per license. So we are less than 10% of the price of System Center and include quite a lot of the different components that you're going to see here. So let's go ahead and walk through some of the different features that we make available. Now, our whole goal again around this is cost-effective management. We don't want you to have to go and even invest in dedicated hardware just to go and run your management system, which is another struggle that we see with a lot of System Center users. If you get System Center, just to set it up, you often have to hire consultants, you need to have dedicated databases, you need to have a SQL Server license, and then you even have to have your own hardware just to run the System Center components. They recommend at least 32 gigabytes of RAM just to use all of the different System Center components as the bare minimum. And most enterprises use about 128 gigs to run everything on System Center. Now, ask yourself this, 128 gigabytes of RAM just to run your management solution. How many servers is that? Because in many cases, for customers that have invested in servers a while ago, that is oftentimes a dedicated server or multiple servers to use. Now, if you're going to go use xByte, that's a great option here to help you reduce your hardware cost. But still, you guys don't want to have to go and invest in an entire server just to go run your management system. So we want to make that simple, make it easy. And you can use 5nine Manager on as little as 4 gigabytes of RAM. Now, another big benefit of this is it's simple and easy to use. We have a lot of VMware users that have actually moved over to Hyper-V, and they use 5nine Manager as their go-to tool. As you're going to see shortly in our demo, 5nine Manager is actually designed to look like vCenter. So we made that transition from VMware over to Hyper-V much easier. And so this is going to lower your training costs, your onboarding costs, and it's really going to help you understand and start using virtualization out of the box with almost no investment up front in your training or operational costs. Now, the other big thing that we try to do here with 5nine Manager is provide you with a single centralized management and monitoring console. So you could take care of your standard day-to-day Hyper-V and cluster operations without having to go to all these different places, manage all your different resources, and even include monitoring. Now, what we found with a lot of SMBs or customers that don't have dedicated people in monitoring is the big challenge with System Center or the inbox tools is actually receiving notifications. So with 5nine Manager, we will actually send you alerts anytime there's an issue in your infrastructure. So you don't have to hop on the console and constantly be watching it. You could just receive an email once an issue happens. And that's going to continue to save you time and money because you're reducing your actual upfront costs of having IT guys constantly watching the system. Now, the first thing that we really want to do and encourage all of our users to do the first time they log on in the morning is to go take a look at the summary view. And this is a centralized dashboard that's going to give you all of the information about your environment, what's healthy, what's not, as well as any alerts that have come up. So this is a great way to just come in the morning, take a look at the summary view, assume that everything's good, but if there's any type of issue, even down to a single event that's happened on any of your cluster hosts or your virtual machines, we're going to go and send you an alert to let you know that there's an issue and then give you guidance about how to go and resolve it. Now, with HyperV Management, having a graphical user interface really helps people understand kind of the somewhat complicated concepts of virtualization. Now, we have a full graphical user interface, and it doesn't just run on Windows Server standard installation. This full GUI can, of course, run on Windows Server Core and HyperV Server. So on these traditionally GUI-less systems, you get that full graphical user interface. When you're connecting to your environment, you can automatically discover Hyper-V hosts because we basically can go and query Active Directory, and we can say, Active Directory, what are all of the servers in your infrastructure? Which of those have Hyper-V installed? Hey, you're probably going to want to go and manage these. So this also makes the deployment, the setup much easier. Now, one of my favorite features with 5nine Manager, which is something that's not available in any of the Microsoft products, even with System Center, is the ability to clone the settings of a host. Now, one of the best practices around virtualization is to always have the host settings consistent. And the reason for this is if you have a virtual machine that runs on one server and it crashes or it fails over in a cluster or it's live migrated to another host, you always want it to go and function and operate the exact same way. And in order to do that, you need to make sure that that Hyper-V host has the same configuration settings. So no matter what host it's running on, it's always going to function the same way, speak to the same virtual networks, have the same policies around them. And so we give you the ability to configure everything on a single host and then go and clone those settings to other hosts. Now, another limitation of the built-in Microsoft Hyper-V tools is that they have limitations on down-level management. And the reason for this, within HyperV Manager, which is the native management tool that comes free with Windows Server, they can only manage 2012 and 2012 R2. And the reason for this is that backwards compatibility was broken in Microsoft's own console. And we actually found that about 20% of our customers, and usually they're the early adopters of Hyper-V running 2008 R2, they can't actually manage that old infrastructure using the current tool from Hyper-V. So we wanted to make down-level management a priority. And so with our solution, we actually manage 2012, 2012 R2, and even back to 2008 R2. But this isn't where we end. We're, of course, very focused on what's coming next. So 5nine Manager is already fully deployed and supported for Windows Server 2016 with the different technical previews, as well as one of the new versions coming out with Windows Server 2016 known as Nano Server. So all of that support is already built into the platform. Now, within Hyper-V, I mentioned affordability is kind of one of the big reasons that a lot of people use the platform, and a great reason why you should take a look at xByte as one of our partners here. Now, within HyperV Server Management, there's an actual SKU here known as the HyperV Server. So if you go to aka.ms/HyperV Server, you can go download this, and this SKU is completely free. So if maybe you're a VMware customer, you're new to virtualization, one of the big concerns a lot of people have is if I make this move over to Hyper-V, how much is it going to cost me? What are my extra licensing concerns? And Microsoft's biggest strategic move around virtualization was to give away this operating system for free. And what's really unique about this isn't like an evaluation where you get to download it, you use it for 90 days, and then it expires. This is a 100% fully licensed version of HyperV that will never expire. And this contains all of the different clustering and Hyper-V features that you would expect from the full version, including 64-node clusters, 8,000 VMs a cluster, 1,000 VMs per host, cluster shared volumes, all the different types of live migration. And so a lot of people say, hey, why would Microsoft give this away? Well, again, it's to really bring people on the platform, to give adoption and help it out. And so this really is one of the biggest reasons why Hyper-V is one of the most affordable solutions on the market. Now, a lot of people then go and say, okay, so you're giving this away for free. Does that mean that I don't have to buy any Microsoft licenses anymore? Well, that's the catch. That is not quite true. Because with this HyperV Server version, you get all of the virtualized infrastructure, you get clustering, you get file systems, you get the network stack and the storage stack, but that's it. This SKU is designed exclusively for Hyper-V. So it's not going to contain a lot of the other key critical infrastructure pieces that you would expect from a Windows Server environment. So this does not include Active Directory. This does not include DNS, DHCP, a lot of those important roles that you would expect with that. And so that's kind of Microsoft's idea here. You know, we found about 98% of all enterprises are using Active Directory. And so most people already have those Windows licenses to run those guest operating systems. And so even if you're a VMware customer looking at Hyper-V, you can make the transition, replace all of your VMware host infrastructure, all those ESXi servers at zero cost. And you're still going to want to continue to keep those licenses for the guest operating systems, where you're running Active Directory and managing and securing all those other components. Now, virtual machine management is, of course, a critical part about this. We give you the ability to manage your storage, manage your networks, and you can even connect to your virtual machines with 3 different options, more than the Microsoft tools. Now, a lot of people say, okay, I know about the VM connection, I understand RDP, but what's this other thing, FreeRDP? Well, FreeRDP is basically a version of the remote desktop protocol that requires no infrastructure to set up. So if you're a smaller organization and maybe don't have the time or the resources to go and set up your gateways, your perimeter servers, things like that, you could take advantage of FreeRDP, and it's going to give you the ability to go and connect remotely to all of your infrastructure with zero investment in that supporting infrastructure as well. And again, with 5nine Manager, we give you the ability to manage all the different operating systems on the market, including the upcoming versions of Windows Server 2016. Now, we got a lot of great feedback. People are saying this is a great alternative to System Center. However, I also want to understand the health of my virtual machines. Now, within System Center, it contains about 8 different components. What we've done with 5nine Manager is taken the 2 most popular ones and built them in here, which is Virtual Machine Manager and Operations Manager. And what we found with Operations Manager, that's your way to get the reporting, understand the health of your infrastructure. We went ahead and we built that all into 5nine Manager. So you could take a look at the performance of CPU, disk I/O, network I/O, and memory at all different levels. Taking a look at the cluster level, the node level, the host level, and drilling it down all the way to the performance of the individual virtual machine. And what we heard from our customers was, this is great, we get this real-time monitoring, but in many cases, I'm not looking at this console every single day. I need a way that if there's a problem in my infrastructure and it crashes, I can take a look at the history and then go and resolve it. And this is really big for SMBs because, again, you guys don't have this dedicated guy who's constantly monitoring the infrastructure. So taking advantage of this virtual resource monitoring, we can actually go and take a look at historical data as well. So you could travel back in time, take a look at all these different performance characteristics over the past day, week, month, and it's all up to how much database storage you have. We'll continue to write all the logs, monitor the health, and this gives you the ability to go and view and troubleshoot different issues. Now, one other thing that I should mention here, in our most recent release as well that happened this past week, we also give you the ability to include capacity planning. And this is an extremely important one for SMBs or people that have affordability issues, because you have to plan in advance, when am I going to run out of memory or storage or disk I/O or network? And so using our built-in trending, we can actually give you capacity planning guidelines. So if you know, for example, that you're going to run out of server memory in a couple of months, it will give you an opportunity to proactively contact xByte and go and order that hardware. So this whole capacity planning, we found from our SMB customers, this is extremely helpful in helping them optimize their environment and really make good financial decisions, so they're not spending the money too early and they're not waiting until their servers slow down because they're out of capacity before they go ahead and make the hardware investment. Another challenge that we heard from a lot of customers, especially those that are new to Hyper-V, is the challenge about finding information about the health of the environment. Now, within the Windows Server world, they use eventing. They write to event logs anytime you have an issue, whether it's an informational update, whether it's a crash, an error, all different types of information. But being able to collect and aggregate all of this different components in these logs can become time-consuming. So with 5nine Manager, we fully integrated all of the login directly into the console. So you could take a look at not just the Hyper-V logs, but also your cluster logs, and get all the information you need from a single pane of glass. Email alerts and notifications is a big one as well. So we can give you real-time updates based on different events that happen in your environment. So if somebody deploys a new virtual machine, you can get a notification. If a virtual machine crashes or gets turned off, you can get a notification. And this will also give you updates on different components or more advanced features. So if, for example, replication fails, you can no longer back up, you can also get an alert. So this is a great way for organizations to really save money and, again, not have that real-time operations engineer looking at the system all the time, but you only get an update if and when you have a problem in the infrastructure. Now, again, with 5nine Manager, our whole goal was to make this easy to use. Have a small installation footprint, lightweight, quick to deploy. And so we really try to put a balance here of making it easy to use, making it clean, making it crisp. And with this whole design principle, it's really allowed people to adopt Hyper-V much faster. Now, one of the most common questions that I get asked here is, what about Microsoft? You know, this seems like it's going to be competing with System Center. Aren't you concerned about that relationship? And what we've actually found is this is a great, healthy relationship we have with Microsoft, because System Center is designed for enterprises. 98% of System Center users are large enterprises, and this statistic came directly from Microsoft. And Microsoft has said, you know, our focus, our engineering effort, large organizations, 1,000 people plus, 100 servers plus, or go ahead and use the inbox tools, which honestly, they need some more development to really make them useful. And so this has kind of been our sweet spot, being able to kind of be that Goldilocks solution where System Center is too much from Microsoft and the inbox tools are not enough. So Microsoft has been extremely supportive of us as being the go-to solution for small to medium-sized businesses, helping people understand the solution, and it's even better for the VMware administrators that are looking to make a transition over to Hyper-V. And for those that are new to Hyper-V or even new to the Microsoft ecosystem, sometimes it can be complicated or tough to go and get things up and running, but not just to deploy it, but also make sure that everything functions correctly. Now, Microsoft actually includes several best practice analyzers within Windows Server, but you have to go to different consoles and different locations to launch them. For clustering, for example, you go to Failover Cluster Manager. For Hyper-V, you have to go and launch this best practice analyzer using PowerShell. Others are built in Server Manager. And so what 5nine did was try to go and unify all of these built-in best practice analyzers and give you a single location to launch them and also to review the data. And what we recommend to all of our customers is to always run these best practice analyzers once a week if you can, and anytime you have an alert about a misconfiguration, you can just follow the prescriptive guidance that says, here's the problem, here's how to fix it. And we encourage all of our customers to work through this list, keep running it once a week, and get down to the point where you do not have a single configuration issue. And then you know that you really have optimized your solution for Hyper-V. Now, another challenge that we hear from a lot of small customers is that it's really tough to understand how the configuration is built. If you have a lot of virtual machines, or even a few virtual machines, each of them have different properties about the amount, not just the amount of memory that they use, but if the memory is overcommitted, how much weight does it have? And so what I mean by that is, let's say you have one Hyper-V host that's running on xByte. You have this single host, and maybe it has 1 gigabyte of memory. Or, I'm sorry, maybe it has 1 terabyte of memory. Well, in many cases, people overcommit the memory, where they'll say, I want to run 20 virtual machines on it, and each of them are running 512 gigabytes of RAM. That'd be way too much. Now, the way Hyper-V manages this type of contention is they'll actually provide what's known as a memory weight for each virtual machine. So if you have 2 virtual machines that are competing for memory, and there's not enough available, the virtual machine that has the better weight will take priority. It's going to consume more of that memory. And so this kind of gives you an ability to go and prioritize these different resources: memory, CPU, disk I/O, and network I/O. And so one of the challenges that we found about that is that parameter, the memory weight, is really hard to find. You have to go and select the individual virtual machine, select the properties, then drill down to one of the specific settings around the memory on it. And then you have to go and do that for every single virtual machine in your environment. So what we wanted to do is provide a very easy way to go and really understand the health of the entire data center. So we can generate reports for you that are going to tell you the configuration of each and every one of your Hyper-V hosts. So it's going to give you information about the uptime, how long it's been running, memory, and drill down to the individual virtual machine, telling you about synchronization, how it's handing off information, whether the heartbeats are configured, whether backup's enabled, and then drill down to all those individual properties about each and every configuration setting. Now, we found out that a lot of people that are using virtualization have very specific compliance requirements, where they constantly have to document the environment, send a report, and then go and even test it against different types of compliance standards, whether that's PCI, HIPAA, things like that. So being able to instantly and automatically generate a report has saved our administrators a lot of time, because for a lot of SMBs, people that have budgetary issues, they don't have these resources to go and have your infrastructure admin go and run reports. So we make it easy for you. You can export it to PDF, Word, Excel format, and really understand the deployment of the infrastructure at little or no cost to you. Now we're going to go ahead and switch over to our first demo and walk you through this. But before we do that, we're going to go and ask our second poll question. And our second poll question is going to ask you, how big is your environment right now? How many Hyper-V hosts are you running? So if you could switch over to the console, and you can answer, are you running 1 to 5 hosts, 6 to 20, 20 to 50, over 50, or maybe are you not currently a Hyper-V user and you're investigating this for the first time? So we'll keep this poll open for about another 5 to 10 seconds, so please switch over, give us your answers. And looking at the data, it looks about 75% of you have voted now. It's a pretty even split between 1 and 5 hosts and 6 to 20 hosts, with only a couple of you not using Hyper-V. So this is really interesting, because what this tells me here is that we have a lot of SMB customers on the line. People really understanding how can I deploy the solution, make things more affordable, and manage just a couple of hosts, but not have to use System Center. So if you're going to go and invest in System Center just to manage 5 hosts or 10 hosts, that's a lot of configuration, a lot of deployment, and you probably have to give an entirely dedicated host just to go run that management infrastructure. All right, we'll wrap up the poll there, and we're going to go ahead and switch over to our first demo. So what we have here is 5nine Manager running on top of xByte. We've gone ahead and deployed 5nine Manager in one of the xByte labs, and we're actually managing a live infrastructure here. And the first thing that you see is the data center management level, where we've gone and configured a data center, and then within that, we get a breakdown, a hierarchy of the different components. So I can see everything at my cluster level, the overall health. I can see things at the node level. And then I can even drill down to the individual virtual machine. And based on the different context that you select, you get different types of information. Now, with the summary view, you get a lot of health information. And we can see that in my 2-node cluster, it looks like I have some issues. One of my virtual machines is healthy. Sorry, one of my hosts is healthy. One of them is unhealthy. But we can instantly go and drill down and figure out what the issue is because we get all of these alarms built up, bubbled up to a single interface. It looks like one of the big challenges I have here is that my memory has exceeded the threshold. So this means that I've deployed a virtual machine and it needs more memory than I have available. But using this detailed information, I can quickly figure out the problem. It's my Linux virtual machine, and it has more memory than we can consume. So what I'm going to do here is now I'm going to drill down to my individual host. I get information about the usage, domain names, disk, and if I want to go and directly connect to that host, I have the ability to quickly go and launch a remote desktop connection as well. So this will allow me to immediately go and connect to that host. Now, as we go through these other components here, one thing you're going to see is that we collect a lot of different information. So we can drill down, drill up, and go and navigate this in different areas. We're going to go ahead and switch back to the demo, and we're going to jump back and forth as we show some different advanced features as well. Now, within HyperV Management, one of the big pieces of feedback we got was, hey, you guys do a great job of deploying this base infrastructure, but we really need some advanced management capabilities. System Center does some great things around clustering, load balancing, that we really want you guys to go build in the product so that we can use this as a medium-sized business. So within 5nine Manager, we went ahead and included a lot of different capabilities that we've taken from System Center and integrated into the core product. First, and maybe most important, is your ability to deploy, test, and manage failover clusters. And what a failover cluster does is it provides high availability for a virtual machine. It's going to monitor the virtual machine, the guest operating system, and it can even drill in and monitor specific services running within that VM. So if a service, a guest operating system, or the entire virtual machine crashes, we could go ahead and restart it, move it to a different host, and bring it online. So this is your way to go and have resiliency in the data center and make sure that your applications and services are always running. Now, another important feature built into the Windows platform is a technology known as HyperV Replica. And with HyperV Replica, it's basically going to take a copy of your virtual hard disk, which is where all the data is stored for the virtual machine, and go and copy that to a secondary location. So it's essentially an inbox disaster recovery tool that you can use. It's going to do this replication every 30 seconds, or 5 minutes, or 15 minutes based on your settings. Now, this is actually something that is built in the platform, but is not even available within System Center. But using 5nine Manager, you have the ability to configure replication, monitor the health, clone your replication settings to other hosts, and even do real-time monitoring as well. So if you have a replication failure event, we can go and alert you and say, hey, there's been an issue, you need to go take a look at this. Now, one of the more popular features within System Center Virtual Machine Manager is a technology known as dynamic optimization. For those VMware people on the line, this would be the same as DRS, or Distributed Resource Scheduler. And what this technology does is it essentially load balances virtual machines across different Hyper-V hosts. So if you have a particular Hyper-V host that's consuming too much memory, it's getting overloaded, that's bad for your virtual machines because it's going to slow things down. So what we're able to do here is create a group of different nodes or individual hosts, set different thresholds, and if one of those thresholds gets exceeded on a host, we can go and live migrate that virtual machine over to a different host. So let's say, for example, if I get over 90% memory usage, that's a bad thing for my virtual machines because it's going to slow down all of those VMs on that host. But as soon as we hit that using 5nine Manager, we'll detect it, and we'll go live migrate that virtual machine to a host that's using less memory. So this way, you can kind of balance the resources across all the different components, all the different hosts in your environment. Now, another popular request from medium-sized businesses is to go and solve one of the biggest challenges they have, which is misconfiguration of different types of servers. So what we found is, with, again, some of these medium-sized enterprises, they like to use kind of the concept known as a template, where you want to go and configure a virtual machine one time. Let's say it's your website virtual machine running IIS, and you want to go and clone that virtual machine, reuse the same settings each and every time. So we give you the ability not just to clone a virtual machine, but to also take a virtual machine and go and save it in the library, where we're taking all of the different configuration settings, putting that in a template that you can go ahead and edit. So if you want to redeploy the same virtual machine multiple times, it's as simple as selecting it and clicking redeploy. And this is going to help avoid misconfiguration. Each and every time your virtual machine will get deployed the same time. So this is going to save you the same way. So it's going to save you time and money. Now, when it comes to compliance, another big challenge which isn't provided in the platform is the ability to go and track and log different changes that happen in the environment. If a user, for example, logs into HyperV Manager, the native tools, and shuts down a virtual machine, you have to drill into different type of event logs to go figure out what happened and who did it. We wanted to include all of the different tracking and logging in our interface here. So anytime an administrator makes a change, we log that. And anytime the system makes a change, we also log that. So if, for example, a virtual machine crashes, or you need to load balance a virtual machine across different hosts, we're going to retain, log, and save all of that information for you as well. So this helps enable all of different compliance requirements worldwide. So let's go ahead and switch back to our demo here. And we'll go ahead and walk through these different components here. And so what you see with 5nine Manager is every time we want to go load it, it's relatively fast. It's in fact about 10 times faster than System Center Virtual Machine Manager to load. So when I want to go and connect to my environment, again, I get this high-level view. I select my cluster. I can drill down. I see all of the different components running with it at the node level, drill down, and I see my different virtual machines. So let's say, for example, I want to go and configure the settings on my host here. I'm going to go and select my HyperV settings. I can select different migration settings, and maybe, for example, I want to change the number of simultaneous live migrations that my host can have. So I'm going to select 6 simultaneous live migrations. I save it, and then I want to go and apply those settings across different hosts. So I can select my other node in my cluster, copy all of these settings, click Apply, and those configuration changes get saved. So I get that consistency across the different hosts in my environment. Now let's go in and drill down a little more and take a look at some of the other configuration settings. So I can see my summary view. I can see the view of each of the different individual virtual machines, and I have the ability to change all the sorting, change all the filtering as well. So if I want to filter by all of my virtual machines that are running, I can quickly see this. And down here, I can see what's happening inside the guest operating system, and I can even go and configure different types of replication settings. I can configure my virtual networks, and I can go and load balance between different hosts in my environment. So here, for example, I have a load balancing configuration. I can see that my current active CPU, memory, and disk is healthy, and I can see information at a real point in time. As I take a look at the monitoring, I can also see this real-time monitoring about all of the different resources. And for example, I see some of my networks are really spiking as I'm going and doing this configuration. So if I wanted to drill into my networks, I can go select the Network tab, and down here, I can go and view historical data over how the network health is behaving the last day, week, month, or any different component. And then we can even see the built-in trend lines as well, showing me how it's being used. Within capacity planning, I can see that currently I'm actually going through less network resources, so this is a good sign. I'm trending downwards, which means that I'm probably not going to run out of resources too soon. I can see my different best practice analyzers. I can generate system status reports. I could go take a look at all of the different logs that are happening in the environment and drill down based on different settings, administrative logs, take a look at the different errors, and then be able to go and resolve these issues. If I take a look at my library, I can see different types of virtual machines that have been made into templates. And so this is, again, one of the settings that I want to go and redeploy each time. I like my IIS server. I'm going to deploy the website. I can go and configure the memory and quickly redeploy this multiple times. And I can even see virtual disks and ISO files that are saved for quick redeployment. Let's go ahead and switch back now to the presentation, and I'm going to present one of the different versions of 5nine Manager. We consider this our advanced version, as it includes antivirus. So 5nine itself, we essentially have 2 products, our management product as well as our security product. And the big advantage with 5.9 security product is we design security explicitly for virtualized environments. So within a virtualized environment, it's often impractical to go and have to install an agent inside each and every virtual machine. We do all of our security entirely agentless. So this means that nothing has to run inside the VM, which means none of those security components have to be updated. It also provides a level of isolation where the admins don't actually have to log into the virtual machines themselves. So if you're using VDI or you have non-technical users, they don't have to be bothered by seeing all of these notifications and updates that they have to go and do patching. We centralize all of the security and do it at the host level. And so essentially the magic behind this is we intercept the network packets and the viruses before they actually arrive at the individual virtual machine. So a traditional network packet or a virus that's going to go and attack a virtual machine has to go through the HyperV host. It then has to go through the virtual switch, and then it's going to end up at the virtual machine itself. So with 5.9, we actually go and install a driver at the kernel level that's going to go and intercept these different network packets and say, yes, this is safe, it's allowed through, or no, there's a threat. We have to go and block this. And so this feature, this agentless antivirus, is also available with 5.9 Manager. Now, since the security solution was built exclusively for HyperV, there's a lot of benefits as we are the leading security solution on the market for HyperV. Not only do we offer the agentless protection, but we do our antivirus scans 70 times faster than the competitors on the market. So this means that you do not get hit with these scanning storms when you actually need to go and do an antivirus scan. Now, if you're an SMB or you're looking for an affordable solution, the big benefit to this is that it allows you to run more virtual machines on each host. You don't have to manage these antivirus scans and have to live with the fact that you can only run fewer virtual machines during a scan due to the big performance hit of these disk scans. We figured out a way that really optimizes it. It's only going to go and scan new files, change files, and so this way the security scans have zero performance impact, and you don't even notice that they're happening. So this means, again, you get better density, run more VMs on each of your hosts. Now, the way we've actually implemented this is using the technology known as change block tracking, where instead of each time we have to scan the entire disk, which is what other solutions on the market have to do, we can simply go ahead and track the different blocks on the disk that have changed since the last scan and only go and scan those. So instead of having to scan my 1 terabyte disk each time, I maybe only have to scan 1 megabyte or scan 100 megabytes, making it so much faster, giving you that increased density. And again, this is exclusively built and designed for HyperV. And you have the choice of different antivirus engines. With 5.9, we didn't want to go ahead and reinvent antivirus. We actually plug into the software development kit of Bitdefender, Kaspersky, and ThreatTrack and allow you to decide which antivirus engine you want to use. So we're essentially taking these existing antivirus components and optimizing them for HyperV. So as we wrap it up here, we want to introduce several different resources to you. At the end of this presentation, or in fact in about 2 days' time, we're going to go and send a link to the recording and include the slides, so you will have access to these resources. We do encourage you to go and check out the xByte website, 5.9 website, and take a look at the different resources that we have available to you as well. Now, as Ryan promised at the start of this session, we wanted to tease you and give you several different offers here. So if you go and order within the next month before the end of March 2016, you can get 10% off any order, which includes xByte with 5.9 Manager. And additionally, the first 50 people that go ahead and request a quote from xByte are also going to get a $10 Amazon gift card or any other gift card of your choice. So here's a great incentive for you to go ahead, take advantage of these more affordable solutions for HyperV, and go ahead and get a great discount with it over the next week or so. And we're going to go ahead and switch it over to our Q&A. So Ryan, I know that we've got several questions that have come in through the Q&A. The first one's actually for xByte, so why don't you go ahead, jump on the line, ask and go and answer the first question you have.
Okay. All right, thanks, Simon. My voice cracked there for a second, not talking for a while. I always love hearing or seeing you present all the information you give. Anyway, first question here, and this is actually one we get often, is, can I get new servers from xByte? And it's a yes and yes. We do have a sister company, so for those people in the poll who said we only buy new servers ever, we are an official reseller of Dell's and can get you those servers, actually HP as well. And if you're looking for just the current generation of Dell servers, we can still get those through the xByte channels, through canceled orders. It takes us generally about 3 to 6 months, depending on the Dell supply chain, for us to get their excess servers of the newest stuff. So yes and yes, we can get you the new servers.
Great, thanks, Ryan. We have another question that came in about 5nine, and very common question here. How do you do licensing? So what we do with 5nine Manager is we do consistent licensing with Windows Server. And we do licensing per Hyper-V host that you're going to manage. So if you're managing 4 hosts, you're going to acquire 4 different licenses. And with the licenses, currently it's $350 per license, so very affordable, less than 10% of the price of System Center. However, we are going to be increasing our price over the summer once we launch the next version of our product. So there's a good incentive to buy this in the next couple of months. If you buy it within March, not only do you get an extra 10% discount with xByte, but you're going to go and hit that sweet spot of being able to go and acquire this technology before we increase our price over the summer. And one thing as well that's important to note about our licensing too is that it is a subscription model where we do annual licensing, annual billing. So you're basically paying $350 per host per year. And again, extremely affordable, less than 10% of the price of going with System Center. All right, Ryan, I did see there was another question that came in for xByte. Do you want to take this one as well?
I know we were running very short on time. It was a question about the leasing. Any questions about the leasing that we offer? I know it's very appealing because it does not have the owner of the company does not have to put his own finances on the line. If any question on the leasing, come talk to us directly. We'll kind of walk you through all that. There's some specialized considerations for us, and that's how we get away with not having to have that owner signature on there. Anyway, just come to us afterwards. You can call us up. It's actually, we have a Vanity line, 888 xByte IT, or just go to our website and you can talk to us about that leasing option.
Great, thanks, Ryan. The final question that came in here for 5nine is about the antivirus edition. And the question is, you offer 3 different antivirus options with Bitdefender, Kaspersky Lab, and ThreatTrack. Do I have to go buy a separate license for those? And the answer is no. What we've actually done with these different antivirus vendors is have a mutual agreement where you just come to 5nine, you pay us, and we handle all of the licensing with those third parties on the back end. We essentially pay a royalty to them. So this means that we're a single point of contact for support, for deployment, unified installation, and you only have to work with us and never have to worry about working with a separate organization just to handle the licensing of the antivirus piece. Well, with that, we want to thank all of you for attending. We've hopefully shared some good information, given you a couple different options, and helped you understand how you can lower your costs and essentially have a more affordable solution for Hyper-V by partnering with 5nine along with xByte Technologies. With that, we're going to go and conclude the webinar. We'll send out a follow-up email in a couple of days that will include a link to the presentation, a link to the video, and give you prescriptive guidance about how to contact us. But of course, please feel free to reach out to myself, Simon at 5nine.com, or Ryan.Brown at xbyte.com, or tweet to one of our organizations, and we'll be more than happy to work with you directly. With that, we're going to conclude the webinar. Thank you very much for attending, and thank you, Ryan, and the xByte team for supporting this event with 5nine. We hope that you all have a great day. Thank you. Goodbye.